Dear friends, happy to meet you once again through this video. In the YouTube series of Foreign Travelers to South India, I am presenting about the envoy of Sultan Shahrukh of Samarkand, Abdal Razzak al-Samarkandi, a Persian historian who visited India during 1442 to 1445 in the mid-15th century. This video will give description of Razzak's audience with the King of Bijanagar, once on arrival and one after the Mahanavami Festival. I have replaced Bijanagar with Vijayanagar for better understanding. Interview with the King of Bijanagar. One day, messengers came from the king to summon me, and towards the evening, I went to the court and presented 5 beautiful horses and 2 trays, each containing 9 pieces of damask and satin. The king was seated in great state in the 40-pillared hall, and a great crowd of Brahmins and others stood on the right and left of him. He was clothed in a robe of zaitun satin, and he had round his neck a collar composed of pure pearls of regal excellence, the value of which a jeweler would find it difficult to calculate. He was an olive color, of a spare body and rather tall. He was exceedingly young, for there was only some slight down upon his cheeks and none upon his chin. Whole appearance was very prepossessing. On being presented to him, I bowed down my head. He received me kindly and seated me near him, and taking the august letter of the emperor, made it over to the interpreters and said, "My heart is exceedingly glad that the great king has sent an ambassador to me." As I was in a profuse perspiration from the excessive heat and the quantity of clothes which I had on me, the monarch took compassion on me and favored me with a fan of kattai which he held in his hand. Then they brought a tray and gave me 2 packets of betel, a purse containing 500 fanams, and about 20 miskals of camphor, and obtaining leave to depart, I returned to my lodging. The daily provision forwarded to me comprised 2 sheep, 4 couple of fowls, 5 mans of rice, 1 man of butter, and 1 man of sugar, and 2 varahas in gold. This occurred every day. Twice a week I was summoned to the presence towards the evening, when the king asked me several questions respecting the Khanai Sayed, and each time I received a packet of betel, a purse fanams, and some miskals of camphor. The monarch addressed us through his interpreter and said, "Your kings feast ambassadors and place dishes before them, but as I and you cannot eat together, this purse of gold represents the repast of an ambassador." Audience of the King of Vijayanagar after Mahanavami Festival. On the 3rd day, when the king was about to leave the scene of the festival, I was carried before the throne of His Majesty. It was of a prodigious size, made of gold, inlaid with beautiful jewels, and ornamented with exceeding delicacy and art. Seeing that this kind of manufacture is nowhere excelled in the other kingdoms of the earth, before the throne there was placed a cushion of zaituni satin, round which 3 rows of the most exquisite pearls were sewn. During the 3 days, the king sat on the throne upon this cushion, and when the celebration of the Mahanavami was over, he sent for this humble individual one evening at the time of prayer. On arrival at the palace, I saw 4 stages laid out about 10 yards square. The whole roof and the walls of the apartment were covered with plates of gold inlaid with jewels. Each of these plates was about the thickness of the back of a sword and was firmly fixed with nails of gold. On the first stage, the king's royal seat was placed. This was formed of gold and was of great size. The king sat upon it in state. He asked after His Majesty the Khanai Sayed, his nobles, his armies, the number of his horses, and the peculiarities of the cities such as Samarkand, Herat, and Shiraz. He treated me with a kindness which exceeded all bounds, and observed, "I am about to send a certain number of elephants and 2 tukus of eunuchs besides other rarities, accompanied by a prudent ambassador whom I shall dispatch to your sovereign. In that assembly, one of the courtiers asked me, by means of an interpreter, what I thought of the beauty of the 4 embroidered sofas, implying that such could not be made in our country. I replied that perhaps they might be made equally well there, but that is not the custom to manufacture such articles. The king approved highly of my reply and ordered that I should receive several bags of funums and betel and some fruits reserved for his special use. I will stop here for now. Devaraya II, King of Vijayanagar during the year of 1442 to 45 was described by Razzak this way. I have many more interesting facts told by Razzak. I am presenting the content from the book named The History of India as told by its own historians, the Mohammedan period, from the posthumous papers of Sir H.M. Eliot, edited and continued by John Dawson, published in London in 1872. We'll meet you soon with another video of his experience during the Mahanavami Festival at Vijayanagar. Until then, thanks with wishes.